Hey guys, how's it going? And I'm here to give you my thoughts on the latest episode of Rebels, the season 3 finale, 0 Hour. So, I kind of want to restructure these episodes, these review episodes, in a sort of fashion where we start really, really small on the stupid little things that I really liked, and then we'll zoom our way on out to the bigger implications as to what this might mean for season 4. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first small little thing that I really liked was I liked the use of the code K10. It first showed up in the Battlefront Twilight Company. Yeah, Battlefront Twilight Company novel, written by Alexander Freed. And then it showed up again in Aftermath Empire's End, and now it showed up here again. Essentially, Code K10 is the Rebel oh crap code, where it's oh crap, everybody get in your ships, go, run, flee, go fast, run away. And we're starting to see that more and more often. I mean, it's kind of funny that they use the same code over and over again, but I guess it's kind of like 10 codes in law enforcement or other emergency services here on Earth. So, okay, I can live with that. And I like having that kind of connective tissue. Another really fun part that I really enjoyed was seeing Kanan acknowledge all the fan complaints of Thrawn not doing much this season, at least not up until the last quarter of the season, where he says, I think he's actually trying to kill us this time. And that made me chuckle. It made me go, ha! That was funny. Other little bit is I noticed that there's lots of Nebulon B frigates that are kind of in line with General Dondana's sect of rebels. So I'm curious to know, how did Dondana get all of these Nebulon B frigates, and who makes them now in this canon, and so on and so forth. I love the Nebulon B frigates just because they look like something that's not meant to be a warship, but they make it a warship because they have to. It's not like an old warship like, the Hammerheads or something, but this looks like something that wasn't meant to be a warship at all, and they kind of just plastered tons and tons of guns and tons of guns onto it. And I like that. I guess that's about it for the small bits, so let's zoom out a tiny bit and talk about the characters. I really liked how strong Hera is. She's a very capable leader, and I think that is going to mean a lot in terms of her possible promotion. And we're going to get some more development from her throughout season 4, especially considering poor Sato. Poor Sato. I hated seeing that. I mean, you have to cause a semi-large death, but you can tell that they're still too... the production team is still too a little concerned with causing the death of a main plot character. Kanan, Ezra, Zeb, Chopper, whatever. We know that Chopper and Hera live, but that's neither here nor there. But it sucks to see Sato go. But at least he went in a good way. And speaking of which, let's talk about Thrawn, because I know that's what most people are talking about right now. I have a confession to make. I don't like the character of Thrawn. Sorry. I like watching him in action. Don't get me wrong. He's incredibly brilliant, and it's incredibly fun to watch him dissect things and pick tiny little details that are right out there in the open and manage to connect all these little neat dots and everything like that, like he did in the Thrawn trilogy and Outbound Flight and, this, that, and the other thing. The issue that I have with Thrawn is that he's too good. He's too capable. He's too intelligent to fail. At least against the rebels. He's the perfect weapon against rebels. He's the perfect weapon against Jedi. He will never allow a Jedi to get on board his ship and assassinate him. He will never be... He's always too smart and 16 steps ahead of everybody else. Therefore, the rebels can't outsmart the Imperials like they do in the films and in Rebels and in the books and so on and so forth. He's too good at what he does. Even his death in the Thrawn trilogy didn't really make sense to me because of his intelligence. He should have been able to see that coming, especially considering his obsession with art and the Noghri obsession with recording their history through tapestries and stuff. Like, why didn't he think of that? It just doesn't make sense, especially when he comes up with things like, oh, well, Han Solo likes to enjoy Bantha Thanks on every third Tuesday of the month, therefore he will be in the refresher, therefore it'll be Chewbacca piloting the Falcon, therefore we need to prepare for Chewbacca's specific term that only Wookiees use on every third Tuesday of the month, and also there will be Wedge Antilles flying at the same time, or will be flying, cover, and Wedge Antilles is a Corellian, therefore he will do this type of maneuver. It doesn't, like, when he comes up with stuff like that in the Thrawn trilogy, it gets too ridiculous for me, and it makes any sort of loss that Thrawn has unbelievable. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like Thrawn should have lost. He should have been able to see that coming. You know what I mean? And he just... But in this episode, they did a good job of making it believable through a number of different factors. You have pure heart and bravery from Sato in his suicide run. You have complete ineptitude in Constantine. And then you also have a god, I guess. The Bendu basically just becomes a god, which was awesome, but scary, and I'm curious. I want to know more about that, but we'll talk about the Bendu in a second. Right now, I just want to emphasize that I think that they did a decent job of making Thrawn's loss, believable. It's not really a loss because lots of rebels were killed and lots of rebel ships were destroyed and they were forced to evacuate and all that. Okay. But he did fail in his main objective, being capture the rebel leadership in Dondana and Hera and the Ghost crew and so on and so forth. So let's talk about this guy. What was that?
I will not be called a coward by the likes of you, Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight.
Okay, sorry, Bendu. Jeez, where did that come from? What, huh? What, huh? Yeah, what? Why? What? Where? Okay, I guess that happened. It's just, I liked that the Bendu didn't just kind of be like, oh yeah, never mind, I'll help you, Kanan. No, he just rolled up in there like a thunderstorm. Legit, literally. He was a thunderstorm. And just started zapping everything. Because they came and brought war to his tiny little happy little world. Okay, cool. I'm glad that happened instead of him being like, oh, you know what, Kanan, you're right, I should change it. No, he's just going to roll up in there and start blasting everything. Sweet. I was happy with that. Then there was that little bit of conversation with Thrawn, in between Thrawn and the Bendu. The Bendu didn't really die, I guess, but just before he didn't die and just disappeared, he warned Thrawn that what was it? Verbatim, I believe it was, I see your defeat. Many hands grasping at you in a cold embrace. Whatever the heck that means. Okay, I guess we get to know that Thrawn will be defeated eventually in some form or another, and I'm curious as to how. I wouldn't be surprised if we might end up getting Thrawn in episode 8. Maybe. Probably not, but I could see it happening. I could see him being reassigned at the end of season 4 of Rebels, and he's out scoping out wherever the First Order is going to be born. after Return of the Jedi. That's where he's been there. That's where Thrawn is during the entire original trilogy. Okay, I'll buy that, I guess. I don't think that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened either. As for the main Rebel characters, it was nice to see Ezra not be a punk. He was actually intelligent, and he actually did things that made sense and did things that I enjoyed, I guess. He didn't... Ezra wasn't a pain and he wasn't an annoyance this episode. Okay, and that's nothing against the voice actor. I think the voice actor for Ezra is doing what he can. My issue is the way the writers treat Ezra. I don't think that he hasn't grown correctly. Like, he's like, no, I'm good. No, I'm not. No, I'm good. No, I'm not. No, I'm good. No, I'm not. No, I'm growing up. No, I'm not. No, I'm growing up. No, I'm not. And I get it. I was a 17-year-old kid too. But come on, man. I liked Kanan. I'm interested to see where Kanan's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if, like Star Wars Explained did in his video, Alex, he pointed out that I wouldn't be surprised if Kanan and Ezra end up needing to deal with the dark spirits within the Musashi temples on Yavin, which is where they're going at the end of the episode. Another fun part that I definitely enjoyed was seeing Zeb and Captain Rex talk or bantering back and forth. They're definitely kind of taking on the same sort of grunt muscle role, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the two muscly guys that just kind of run around and punch things and shoot things. Okay, I like that kind of character. I'll take it. Overall, I think that this was an okay episode. There was some interesting issues where Thrawn didn't... Some of the connections that Thrawn made were kind of watered down, but it is a Disney XD show. It's not a novel. It's not even a film. You can't really have these super complex things that a 7-year-old wouldn't understand, you know? You can't really plant all these little ideas and expect them to remember. I wish if they would put that in there for us, because I think that you could still sell it well enough that a 7-year-old would enjoy it, even if they don't quite understand it. But it is what it is. Another issue that I had was the way that Thrawn seemed to be kind of obsessed with Sabine's art, and he never even thought that, or at least he didn't consider the Mandalorians a threat, even if they would come to save the day. He never really bothered to worry about that. But he was also worrying about, Constantine being useless, Sato smashing into Constantine, and giant force god. Okay, he had his hands kind of full, but still, I wish if he would have had some sort of counter to that would have made more sense. I suppose that's just me. I think I'm comparing it a little bit too much with Twilight of the Apprentice, the season 2 ending or finale. That's Ahsoka and Vader facing off. Like, you kidding me? Like, how can you top that, really? In terms of emotional weight and so on and so forth. This was a fun episode. It wasn't quite as character driven or quite as narrative as I would have liked, but again, I'm kind of overly comparing it to Twilight of the Apprentice, which in my opinion is some of the best Star Wars there is. Period. But anyways, I guess that is about all I've got to say about this episode for now, but I'd love to have a conversation with you guys down in the comments. You can leave a like on this video if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want more videos like this one, and as always, may the Force be with you.